Texas A&M has been one of the best teams in the entire country this year, and a big part of why is the incredible explosiveness that the Aggies have on the offensive side of the football. They have one of the best receiving corps in the country and one of the biggest risers in the entire draft class in wide receiver KC Concepcion. Concepcion was a revelation as a true freshman, but had a slight regression in year 2, hit the transfer portal, and has elevated his game to a whole new level, and I think has a real chance to be a top 20 pick. What makes Concepcion such a great player, and where do I think he should get taken in the 2026 NFL Draft? That is what we will be going over in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It helps me out a ton and helps get this video out to more NFL Draft fans like yourselves. Comment down below which prospects you guys want to see in a future episode, and without further ado, let's get into it. KC Concepcion was a 3-star recruit in the 2023 recruiting class and committed to NC State. He burst onto the scene as a true freshman and was one of the best receivers in the nation, finishing the year with 72 receptions for 845 yards and 10 touchdowns. He had big expectations in 2024, but unfortunately didn't quite live up to them. He had just 53 receptions for 460 yards and 6 touchdowns, and he decided to hit the transfer portal in search of a better opportunity. He committed to Texas A&M and has been a godsend for the Aggies receiving game. So far, he has 52 receptions for 829 yards and 9 touchdowns on the year, and looks every bit the player we fell in love with as a true freshman, and has the attention of many in the NFL draft world. I think the first thing that really sticks out when watching Concepcion on tape is the speed in which he plays with. In my opinion, Concepcion is one of the best pure athletes with the football in his hands in the entire draft. He is truly dynamic from anywhere on the field, whether it be on screens, the vertical passing game, or even the contributions he can play on special teams. Concepcion has the ability to take the top off the defense with his speed and his explosiveness, and I also think his usage reflects this. The Aggies line him up outside, in the slot, and even in the backfield at times, and they just want to get the ball in his hands because he is so dynamic after the catch. But Concepcion is not just a speed merchant. I think Concepcion is a super dynamic route runner that can separate to all 3 levels of the field. His stop and go ability is some of the best in this entire draft class, and the way he is able to sell the top of his routes to generate separation, I think is teach tape. He seems to always find himself open across the middle of the field, and I think he has also shown great deep ball tracking ability as well. He can stop and go on a dime, and I think once again, there are ways you can get the guy the ball in space. On top of this, he's very electric after the catch with the ability to hit cutback lanes and turn short gains into massive plays. Concepcion is averaging 7.5 yards after catch per reception, and I think he's such a playmaker. I think size will come up as a concern for Concepcion. He's listed at 5'11", 190 pounds, and while he is a bit smaller than your prototypical number 1 receiver, I'm not really worried about it for him at the next level, and it's because I think he plays bigger than his listed size. He's been very strong at the catch point and did a good job of playing through physical coverage. He's nice against press, he has a good release package, and I think he's a better contested catch receiver than he's going to get credit for. He has a 58.3% contested catch rate, and I do think naturally teams will not love the size, but I don't see size being an issue really at all for Concepcion at the next level. I think the biggest worry I have about Concepcion, and ultimately why I think he could be lower on draft boards, are his hands. Drops have been a consistent issue that have plagued KC throughout his entire career, and they've been an issue for him this year as well. Throughout his career, Concepcion has 18 drops and a nearly 10% drop rate. It is 10% this year for the Aggies, and I think that just has to get better. He's got to hit the jugs machine and improve his hands because As we've seen with some of these faster receivers, if you can't catch the ball at a consistent clip, you're going to get benched at the NFL level. And I worry about Concepcion because this has been the biggest concern for him on tape. And I think it has plagued him and been a big issue for him continued this year at Texas A&M. Concepcion is such an explosive playmaker who I think plays bigger than his weight class. I think he's got incredible speed. He's such a good route runner. I think he tracks deep balls really well. I think he can separate to all three levels. He can contribute as a punt returner. There's not a lot of issues I see with Concepcion. And if he can clean up some of the drop issues, I think he can be a dangerous weapon at the next level because of the speed. I have Concepcion as my number 4 receiver in this draft class, and I have a first-round grade on him as a prospect. He does things with the ball in his hands that I don't think many human beings can do, and I think that's worth getting drafted really high. In terms of a scheme fit, I think Concepcion can work both inside and outside at the next level. I do think, however, he will likely settle in as a very good number 2, wide receiver. I think he's going to be a vertical threat for an offense with his speed, the ability to track the deep ball, and because of the lack of size, I don't know how many teams are going to try to view him as their number 1. But I think he can be a high-end number 2 that can take the top off the defense, be a vertical separator, and I think he's going to have a lot of success in that role at the next level. My player comparison for KC Concepcion is Seattle Seahawks receiver Rashid Shaheed. Shaheed is one of the most explosive wide receivers in the entire National Football League. He's a dynamic route runner who can take the top off the defense at any given point. He isn't the biggest, nor is he the most physically imposing weapon, which I think is very similar to Concepcion, and I think that's the same type of role that KC will play. I do think he's probably more of a consistent receiver and might see more usage than Shaheed has, but I see a lot of similarities in the way they run, the way they move, and the way that they can challenge defenses vertically. KC Concepcion is an explosive playmaker. He's one of the best pure athletes with the ball in his hands in the entire draft, but I also think he's such a dynamic route runner with elite separation abilities. I am a huge fan, and ultimately, I believe that KC Concepcion will be a first-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft.